Unit 18, Day 5, Completing the Square. Determine if the following values are perfect squares. If so, find the square root. Okay, so these first 5 problems should be pretty simple and pretty easy. Now, if you remember correctly, 49 doesn't have just one square root. It actually has 2. We got 7 and negative 7. Same thing for number 2. We've got 8 and negative 8. Now 35, if you put that in your calculator, you wind up with 5 point blah 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 blah. Now the thing is, if you wind up with decimals, then it's not a perfect square. So number 3 is going to be a no. Okay, there is no perfect square. Same thing for 79. Okay, you get, I believe it's 8 point something something something. Alright, so that's a no as well. Now, number 5 has 2 square roots as well. We've got 9 and we got negative 9. Alright, and boom, those problems are done. Real simple, real easy. Now, the thing is, we're going to be talking about this thing called completing the square. Okay, now, whenever we talk about a square, we're talking about a, just like we would normally think of a square, kind of like that, right? Now the thing is, we have those algebra tiles, alright? And if we think about it, if we have, say, a square that looks kind of like this, alright, we've got those parts. That's x squared plus 6x's. Well, we need to be able to fill in this part, and that part is always going to be half of b squared. Alright, now we've got the formula written out for you right here. Okay, we take whatever b is, and that's going to be the number that's attached to the x. So 2, negative 6, negative 4, 8. Okay, and then we're going to cut that number in half and then square it. Alright, now if we look at numbers 6, 7, 8, and 9, it just says to complete the square and then factor that trinomial. So x squared plus 2x, well, we cut 2 in half and then square it. That's going to be 1, so we put a 1 there. Now that makes a perfect square trinomial, and that's going to be x plus 1 squared. Alright, number 7, we're going to take negative 6 divided by 2 and then square it. When we do that, we get, let's see, negative 6 divided by 2, that's negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. So we put a 9 in there. And our factor for that is going to be x minus 3 squared. Alright, next one, number 8. We're going to take negative 4 divided by 2, square it. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. There we go. And then our factor is going to be x minus 2 squared. We do the exact same thing for number 9. We take 8 divided by 2 and square it. And that's going to be 4 squared, which is 16. So we add 16 to this. And that's going to be x plus 4 squared. And that's all there is to this. Alright. Alright. Now it says, the next piece says to complete the square for each equation, then factor the perfect square trinomial. Tip, you must keep equations balanced when completing the square. Now, let's run through the steps for completing the square real quick. Step 1, write the equation in the form x squared plus bx equals c. Alright, this will not work unless we have all of the x terms on the left and a constant on the right. It will not work. It does not work. I've tried it before. It doesn't work. Okay? Step 2, it says that we're going to take this number right here, whatever is attached to that single x, and we're going to divide it by 2 and then square it. Alright, now once we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to complete the square by adding to both sides of the equation. Okay, and then step 4, it's factor that perfect square trinomial. Now, the next piece, it's like I said, we're going to complete the square and then factor the perfect square trinomial. Well, let's see, this one's already looking like this, the x squared plus bx equals c. So what we need to do is go ahead and take b divided by 2 and then square it. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared equals 4. So we got x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 4. Now see, what I did was I added 4 to both sides of the equation. And that's going to give me something that I can factor very easily. That's going to be x plus 2 squared equals 4. And then if we felt like it, we can go on from there and do some more cool stuff. Alright, now we're going to do the same thing for number 11. We take negative 16, we cut it in half, and then we square it. Negative 16 cut in half is negative 8. Negative 8 squared is 64. So what do you think I'm going to add to both sides here? Well, I'm going to add 64. Alright, and that's going to be x squared minus 16x plus 64 equals 0. Well, whoops. Equals 64. Alright, because I added 64 to both sides of that equation. So when I factor this, that's going to be x minus 8 squared equals 64. And there we have it. That one is factored and ready to go. Alright, it's time for page 2 of this awesome idea of completing the square. Alright, so things that we got to do. Step 1, we got to make sure that they are in x squared plus bx equals c form, right? Now, the problem with number 12 is that we have to move this 6x over here. And how that winds up looking is x squared plus 6x equals 27. We've got to make sure to do that or it won't work. Okay? So, next thing that we need to do is we need to take 6 divided by 2 and then square it. When we do that, we wind up with let's see, 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So we take that 9 and we add it to both sides of this. And we got x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 27 plus 9 is going to be 36. Alright, and then what that's going to do for me is that's going to give me x squared. Let's see, that's going to be x plus 3 squared equals 36. Right? Now the cool thing is that is ready to solve. You can actually do some stuff with this, and we'll show you how to do that on Monday. All right? Now the next thing that we need to do is do number 13. So we need to, this is already in that x squared minus, or rather plus bx equals c. All right? And what we need to do is we need to take that negative 18, cut it in half, and square it. So that's going to be 81. Alright, now when we do this, that's going to give us x squared minus 18x plus 81 equals negative 32 plus 81, which when we do negative 32 plus 81 is going to be 49. Okay, so let's see, now we've got x squared, or rather x minus 9 squared equals 49. And that is an answer. Okay, And again, we can go ahead and we can solve that if we felt like it. It's not that hard. Take the square root of both sides and then add 9. Very simple. Okay? Moving along here, we've got our last 6 problems. Okay? And it says to complete the square for each equation, then factor the perfect square trinomial. Move the C term first if necessary. Alright, so number 14. First step. We've got to move this C over. We've got to get it into x squared plus bx equals C form. Alright, meaning that we have to have our x terms and our constants separated by that equal sign. So we need a minus 10 from both sides. And that's going to leave us with x squared minus 8x equals negative 13. Alright, now let's see. We are going to take the negative 8, cut it in half, and then square it. That's going to be 16. Alright? And when we do that, that's going to give us x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals negative 13 plus 16, which that gives me, when I factor that, that's going to be x minus 4 squared equals 3. And we can move on from there if we really felt like it. There's nothing standing in your way from doing that if you want some extra practice on solving these. Alright, now number 15. Okay, again, we're going to minus 50 from both sides, or rather minus a constant from both sides, and that's going to leave me with d squared plus 18d equals, let's see, when I do that, that's going to give me negative 56. Alright, now I'm going to take the 18, I'm going to divide it by 2, I'm going to square it, that's going to be 81. Alright, so that's going to be d squared plus 18d plus 81 equals negative 56 plus 81. Alright, and when we factor that, it's going to be d plus 9 squared equals, let's see, negative 56 plus 81. That should be 25. Alright, and then let's see, and that is going to be our answer. Alright, now number 16, we got h squared minus 16h plus 40. Alright, we're going to have to do something very similar to what we did on 15. We have to minus 40 from both sides. When we do that, we get h squared minus 16h equals negative 48. Alright, negative 16 divided by 2 is going to be negative 8. Negative 8 squared is 64. So we add 64 to both sides here. When we do that, that is going to leave us with h squared minus 16h plus 64 equals, and then negative 48 plus 64 is going to be equals 16. Equals 16. There we go. And then we can go ahead and factor this, and that's going to be h minus 8 squared equals 16. Alright, and like I said, if you'd like to, you can go ahead and practice solving these things on this and move on. It's no big deal. Alright, now, number 17. Okay, let's see what we got here. Number 17, we've got c squared plus 4c. Oopsie. You get that one out of the way too. Alright, we got c squared plus 4c equals 12. So that's going to be, let's see. Well, it's already set up for us. We just need to do 4 divided by 2 squared, which is going to be 4 divided by 2 is 2, 2 squared is 4. So we've got, let's see, c squared plus 4c plus 4 equals 12 plus 4. Let's see, that's going to be c plus 2 squared equals 16. And that's how you answer that. Alright, now number 18 has some other little things that you got to do. We got to add 6b to both sides in order to get it set up. And that's going to leave us with b squared plus 6b equals 16. Now we can take the 6 divided by 2, square it. That's going to be 6 divided by 2, which is 3. 3 squared is 9. So now we've got b squared plus 6b plus 9 equals 16 plus 9. Which, when we shake it all out, that's going to be b plus 3 squared equals 25. Problem answered. Alright, now, last one on this page. And last one for the notes. So, let's see, we got a minus 24 from both sides here. Alright, when we do that, we have n squared minus 12n equals negative 26. Alright, now we can go ahead and cut the 12 in half. That's going to be negative 12 divided by 2, and then square it, which, let's see, that's going to give me negative 12 divided by 2. It's going to be negative 6. Negative 6 squared is 36. Alright, and that's going to be n squared minus 12n plus 36 equals negative 26 plus 36. Sorry if that's not exactly the most legible thing ever. Alright, but point stands as n minus 6 squared equals 10. Oop, that is not a 10, that is definitely a 16. Equals 10. There we go. And that's our answer for that one. Okay, these aren't very difficult. You just have to go through the steps. We have that formula, b over 2 squared, and that is the key to this. Alright, you've got to make sure that you know how to do that in order for this whole thing to kind of go together and mesh and work. Alright, thanks for watching.